So here we are and what we do. So my name is Jessica Esquivel. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the Out Against Big Tobacco Los Angeles Program Coordinator. I am Latina, chingona and proud, pansexual, cisgender, and out to my family. I'm an Aquarius, lover of knowledge and all things magical. I am a first-generation college student. I'm able-bodied, and I grapple with anxiety and imposter syndrome, and I'm still figuring it all out. I like to include these slides with a little bit of about us, just to kind of humanize our experiences behind the screen. So with that being said, I'm going to introduce my co-presenter, which is Isais, our program of managers here at the network.
Hi everyone, my name is Isais Guzman. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I am a first-generation Mexican American, Latinx, Chicanx. I'm born in the U.S. I am cisgender, queer, gay, out to my family, able-bodied, a Pisces, and that's a little bit about me. My pronouns are he, him, and his. I am the manager of programs for the network and help all of our programs across the network and executing them to be successful programs.
So a little bit about us, the California LGBTQ Health and Human Services Network. I know it's a mouthful, so we just kind of go by the network. We're a statewide coalition of nonprofit providers, community centers, and researchers that work collectively to advocate for state level policies and other resources that ultimately advance LGBTQ health. So we advocate for approaches that promote health and wellness as a part of the overall movement for LGBTQ plus equality. So some of our main objectives are listed here: advocating for policies, like I said, which advances the health of LGBTQ communities, expand coverage and improve access to quality healthcare, strengthen programs and build capacity for member organizations, and increase funding to LGBTQ health and human services organizations. So this is our staff, our lovely staff. We're a little tiny team of 6, tiny but mighty. With Danny Cesena, our director, a peer program coordinator, Aston Williams, Isais, who has already introduced themselves, Ariela Cuellar, which is our communication specialist. She's going to be helping us today with, sharing links and just kind of making sure that nothing gets too crazy in terms of like technology. Another peer program coordinator who is Ryan Oda. They actually operate We Breathe, which is another program I'll be talking about a little bit later because they're also having a funding opportunity. And then lastly, myself. Oh, can you go back a slide? Sorry. Yeah, so now actually about Out Against Big Tobacco, Los Angeles. So my program, we began in 2018 through Equality California. I guess I shouldn't say we, I wasn't a part of it when they first started, but Equality California is a civil rights organization that advocates for the rights of LGBTQ plus people in California. We are an alliance of LGBTQ plus individuals and community organizations who collectively work together to address tobacco control and other health inequity issues within the Los Angeles County's LGBTQ plus community. So our coalition works towards, again, policy changes targeted to reduce these tobacco-related health disparities within our community. Our coalition does meet on a quarterly basis with our upcoming virtual meeting on October 25th from 3 to 5 p.m. If any of you are interested, I did want to drop a link directly to our website, but our website is kind of down right now. So I'm just going to ask Ari to actually share my email address if any of you are interested in the actual coalition. You can get into direct contact with me. Thanks, Ari. So our ultimate goals, I guess, are to adopt and implement a comprehensive tobacco retail licensing policies in the cities of San Fernando and or Signal Hill, and to engage diverse individuals and organizations in tobacco control advocacy work that focuses on community and environmental change. So this community engagement program is just kind of like wrapping all that together, making sure that we are not just, advocating and helping other individuals and community organizations get involved, but that we're funding that to an extent as well. Oh, next slide, sorry. And then just a little bit more about what we actually do. So we educate LGBTQ plus communities on tobacco-related health disparities, emphasize the need for data equity and research on LGBTQ plus communities and the tobacco use, to support and serve emerging leaders in public health through our various programs and funding opportunities, this being one of them. And then lastly, to reduce access to commercial tobacco by enacting legislative policy within Los Angeles County. So just a little bit more on what we actually do. So educating and creating, we work with other organizations and collaborative partners to increase their knowledge on tobacco-related issues within the community, such as current and emerging tobacco-related health issues, health disparities, electronic smoking devices. It gets very nuanced, tobacco products, retail licensing, zoning and sales, tobacco industry tactics, etc. So here I have the privilege of working with Pueblo y Salud, which is a wellness organization. They focus on the health and wellness of their constituents in San Fernando. I was able to have like a radio interview or radio talk show. That was my first time, so that was kind of fun. And then just, pictures of us doing other things, like we had a community forum, like a couple, I think 2 months back now, where again, we're just kind of talking about these same issues. Next slide, please. Data equity and research. So in order to advance equity for LGBTQ plus people, it is so important to gather data, evidence, and just research needed to better understand our community, the barriers we face, and the policy changes we can contribute to enable our health and well-being. These documents here were created in the past year and reflect the kind of data that should be made accessible to all individuals, especially those who are at the forefront of the research. So these are just, again, kind of like examples of what's been created as a part of Out Against Big Tobacco. During its 5-year tenure at Equality California, Out Against Big Tobacco contributed to the passing of a comprehensive tobacco retail license in West Hollywood. This ordinance banned the sale of any flavored tobacco products, including cigarettes, cigars, chewing tobacco, pipe tobacco, and electronic smoking devices, as well as menthol, which is a primary ingredient in many cigarette products, is among the outlawed flavors there. So as well as any coupons or discounts on regular tobacco products are also prohibited. I know that it's only shisha tobacco, which is the product smoked in hookahs, that's still permitted. But so that was a big win, and that just kind of shows the policy that has been done with Out Against Big Tobacco. Okay, so an overview of the actual community engagement program. This is kind of where ECAS is going to help me a little bit to answer any questions. This is kind of where it does get, I guess, like a little intimidating. But again, we're trying to break down that language, so it's just a lot easier to understand and apply. So the purpose of this program is to fund individuals and/or organizations interested in building their capacity to participate in LGBTQ plus tobacco control efforts. It's also to support the work of Out Against Big Tobacco to prevent and reduce tobacco use and related health care disparities within the LGBTQ plus community, and to uplift the LGBTQ plus community within Los Angeles County towards healthier commercial tobacco-free lives. So here's our little flyer. If you have a phone on you, that is the QR code to able to actually apply and see the application. We're going to go over a little bit more in depth a little bit later, but overall, what the program, I guess, term is going to be from November 2023, so next month, all the way up until June. Our due date for our application is October 20th. So you still have a little bit of time. And again, if you have any questions, if you still are kind of a little unclear after this webinar, please feel free to contact either myself or Isais. And there's the link to the actual application. So if you want to kind of just look at it while we're going through this webinar. The amount is for $2,500 for up to 4 organizations and/or individuals. So I really want to emphasize that an individual can apply on their own, as well as like the actual organization. And all subcontractors in the first year are eligible to apply in the second year. So again, if maybe you're wanting to, if you end up liking it, if you apply, get approved, again, you are able to apply for that second year. So it totals to a total amount of up to $5,000. So how would you know if you're a good fit? Like with most things, there's a spectrum. Individuals and organizations are both eligible to apply. We do ask that individuals are required to upload a W-9 form in comparison or in contrast to organizations who need to upload a 501c3 letter and tax ID. Community members and allies who are committed to serving the LGBTQ plus community. So again, that's kind of what we're looking for. And you must be based in Los Angeles County. That's kind of like, I would say, the most stringent requirement. We do have, however, have that We Breathe funding opportunity as well, which is statewide. So if you're not located in Los Angeles County, stick around. We still have kind of some information about the statewide program. So what if you're thinking what your responsibilities might look like, I guess the biggest requirement is to be an active member of the California LGBTQ Health and Human Services Network. And the ways in which that you would do that is to attend at least 3 of our network calls, which happen monthly, I believe. Isais, correct me if I'm wrong. And to provide updates via listserv. So at least 1 to 2 updates, and those updates do not necessarily need to be tobacco related or tobacco control related. Okay, yeah, so Isais just confirmed those are monthly. In addition to the responsibilities, we do ask that you choose one of the following. So I know if you have looked at the funding opportunity application itself or the alert itself, it kind of like has a long list, but again, not super scary. We ask that you do one of the following as opposed to like all 4 of the following. So the first is to attend and assist Out Against Big Tobacco LA staff on planning 1 event with a local spin to participate in a Tobacco Advocate Day. And again, I'll go into more detail a little bit in the next slide. And then, or secondly, to assist Out Against Big Tobacco staff in outreach and engagement efforts for the coalition at local LGBTQ plus community events. And we ask that it's 1 to 2 events. Again, any of these following, not necessarily all of them. So there are 4 options. So I just talked about the first 2. The other 2 options are to assist Out Against Big Tobacco staff in the development of LGBTQ plus tobacco related educational materials, such as brochures, fact sheets, infographics, videos. The list kind of just goes on in terms of what classifies as educational materials. And then the 4th option is to assist Out Against Big Tobacco staff in the data collection of 3 to 5 tobacco and or vape retailers in the city of San Fernando and or Signal Hill. So a little bit more on the first option, which is to participate in a tobacco advocacy day. So this is kind of like, so here I think it was the Great American Smokeout. So if you heard of any like tobacco advocate days, essentially they're kind of days that promote awareness around tobacco control and just kind of tobacco use. And they inform the public on dangers of using tobacco, the business practices of tobacco companies, what different orgs are doing to fight the tobacco epidemic, and what people around the world can do to kind of claim their right to health and wellness and healthy living, and to ultimately protect future generations. So this can include supporting an event program development, logistics, outreach, recruitment. It is important to know that the attendance at the actual tobacco advocate event is required. So the second option, which is outreach and engagement. This can include asking event participants to join the coalition, participate in a public intercept survey. So one way that we do that is kind of like next year with all the Pride events, we attend those, and that's where we'll get the information and data collection for those public intercept surveys. To sign up for the network newsletters, network calls, participate in individual tobacco control activities, and receive LGBTQ plus tobacco related educational resources. So option 3, which is the development of materials. This again is to assist Out Against Big Tobacco staff in the development of 1 to 2 LGBTQ plus tobacco related educational materials. This can include the creation of educational materials using Canva. If you're very techie or if you're a comms person, this would kind of be right up your alley. You can work in a group to provide input on resource development, a communication strategic plan, social media strategy, and just the overall quality of our educational materials. So for this option, again, it is kind of like preferred if you have that background, or if you just really enjoy that background. And the last option is data collection, and this is specifically in the city of San Fernando and or Signal Hill. So what I've included here is what was done in the past. This is just kind of a screenshot of the, I think it ended up being like a booklet where you kind of see all the results, what was asked, and all the data that was collected. So we are here to help. So the program coordinator, who was me, I'm going to be conducting orientations with all new subcontractors. So kind of just like, holding your hand along the way, and making sure that we're doing that within the first month of the contract. So again, this first term is going to be from November all the way up until June of next year. Meetings will be held on a quarterly basis to ensure applicants have the training, skills, and materials needed. And really, subcontractors are just kind of required to provide progress updates during these meetings. It's not too big of an ask, and again, we're there, like, we're going to have that channel of communication so that nothing ever gets lost in translation, and again, that you're being supported and that you have all the materials needed. So how to actually apply? So we just ask that you read the eligibility requirements carefully. But this is essentially what's there. We ask you to complete and answer all the questions in the actual funding opportunity application, to submit an application online, and then just ensuring that you're answering all the questions. And if you're a nonprofit, having or submitting a copy of your current 501c3 letter from the IRS, or if you're an individual, having completed your W-9 and submitted that. All applications are due October 20th. So again, you have some time. If you have already opened the funding application or the RFP application, just kind of like take a glance through there, and you'll see that the questions are really just not too hard. Just kind of asking for a little bit more insight. So if you haven't already, here is a QR code to the actual application. And then well, I guess you can't click that one, but Ari, if you can go ahead and drop that link one more time. Oh, no, wait, sorry. But that is the same link. Oh, okay, thank you. So I'll go ahead and, oh wait, I'm not sharing my screen. I was gonna go ahead and open it. Isaís, I don't know if you wanna open the link really quick, just so everyone can take a glance at it. So just like a name of the organization or agency, or if you're an individual. I think actually this is probably the link for organizations, but we do have a different one for individuals. So it looks a little bit different when you're applying as an individual in comparison to an organization. Okay, I have a question. When you mentioned Signal Hill, are you referring to Long Beach? So I know, so Signal Hill is technically still Los Angeles County, and that's the particular place or focus area that I'm talking about. But it is by Long Beach.
And I can do questions as well, since the next section is Q&A. Signal Hill is an area of Long Beach. It's its own city, and its own jurisdiction with its own policies and laws in that area. So when we're talking about Signal Hill, we'll be working with that city council specifically, and most likely working with partners and community-based organizations in that surrounding area. So if you or your organization is located in one of the two cities mentioned, which is the city of San Fernando or Signal Hill, or you live near that area, we highly encourage you to apply, because we want as many folks near those areas to participate in this program, so that way we can get more community buy-in and support for tobacco-free communities. And another question is I am in Alameda County and would like to apply, is that okay? I have experience with LGBTQ minus tobacco. Unfortunately for this specific funding opportunity, you as an individual or your organization needs to be located in the Los Angeles County. Um, it's possible that you might be living outside of Los Angeles County, but your organization is in Los Angeles County. It has an address in Los Angeles County, or vice versa. One of the two have to be um, one, either your home address or your organization's address needs to be in the Los Angeles County area. If you're outside of Los Angeles County, we do have another funding opportunity. Ari, if you have time, if not, I know we're kind of like last minute link, but we have another opportunity through the We Breathe program, which is a statewide program on LGBTQ and tobacco control. And through that program, you would be eligible to apply for that funding opportunity.
He says if you click the next slide, there's the actual flyer.
Oh, okay, great. Yeah, so there's a statewide opportunity if you're outside of Los Angeles County.
Do you do you want to talk about maybe a little bit about whether or not the eligibility requirements are kind of, similar, or any of them?
Sure. The eligibility requirements for We Breathe is similar. The biggest difference is the requirement based on where you're living. So for the statewide, there's no requirement other than to be in California, and for the Out Against Tobacco, you need to be in the county of Los Angeles. The eligibility requirements is very similar. What does differ are the scope of work activities. So what was listed for Out Against Big Tobacco looks very different than what scope of work activities are listed in We Breathe. I strongly recommend reviewing the deliverables for each to see which one is more beneficial for you, um, and seeing whether you want to apply to only one or both, or maybe creating a sequence between each one where you'll apply for one this year and then you apply for the other next year.
So that essentially concludes our, Jesus, did you have a question?
My question is specifically related to the fact that my organization has been with the Out Against Big Tobacco LA coalition since it was with Equality California, and we did the transition to California LGBTQ Human Services Network. We did that jump. Are we eligible again? Since we've been, I know you. Were you able to hear me? Oh my
No,
God.
sorry, you cut off a little bit. I think right after you said you made the jump from Equality California to the network.
To the network, yes. So would we be eligible to apply again, or yeah?
Yeah,
Okay,
I think
cool.
so, right, Say?
Yeah, good question. Yes, you are eligible to apply. Everyone who was previously funded through Equality California can apply again. If anything, one of the questions in the application is if you've had any experience in doing tobacco work in the past. And because your organization has done that, I would recommend including that information of what you did with EQCA, which will help strengthen your application.
Got it. Thank you so much. That helps so much.
Thank you. Okay, Collins Close as well. This is a good intervention for the community. I'm from Uganda. Hello. Any other questions that might help clarify, again, just kind of some of the language in the application itself, or whether or not you are eligible to apply? If not, I am available via email, so please reach out to me with your questions if you end up having a question as you're applying to the funding opportunity. But other than that, that's it. Thank you for attending. I hope to see your application and have a great day. Oh, do you have any funding opportunities reaching outside the USA? Isais, do you have an answer for that?
Yeah, we do not. We primarily work in the state of California in the United States, since we're a California specific organization. And so the majority of our funding opportunities will often have a requirement for organizations or individuals to be based in this state. But there are, national LGBTQ organizations working in tobacco, including the National LGBTQ Cancer Network, who might have more information about national and international funding opportunity. And I included the name in the chat.
And just again, the last slide with my contact information. So thank you all again for attending. Please, like I said, reach out to me if you have any lingering questions. Thank you.